everybody. Coming in hot, rocking the mint green. What do you got? What do you got? The black, the white on black?
Collaboration.
Oh, collaboration is critical. Talking about Ford taking another swing. New car sales bump at Home Depot going EM by 2028. Not EV.
EM.
We'll let you. We'll leave that one hanging. Good morning, Adrian. Good morning to the people on the live stream. Oh, Brian Ortega got beat for the first comment on the live stream. If you didn't know and you're listening to the podcast, we actually live stream the show every day on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I almost said
Twitter, YouTube.
Yeah,
everything. So
you can watch or listen, or if you just watch the live stream, you should go to the podcast platform and just hit subscribe on
subscribe, like, share, all of the podcast.
Leave us a review. Yes. All those things that people always say make a difference.
Like, can we get 4 reviews today? Ooh. Just 4 new reviews. Can 4? It's just take the
Apple
moment.
Podcast is the review spot.
Go to the podcast.
It mean a lot to us. It really would, and it actually helps us too. So
it does.
You can help us too. Oh man, so we've been releasing so much content in the last couple of days, and we have a full on convoy of content behind us. We're like, look at all these cars backed up, right? Like we just gotta. I feel like it's a merge lane, right? It's like
ASOTU, a convoy of content.
That's pretty much what it is. And just think of like a traffic merge. Like that's what the content is right now. We're like, you got a main session. We don't even have the breakouts even like locked and loaded yet, but there's way more of those. We got podcasts, ASOTUCon sessions. All right, let's give them a quick content rundown. First of all, thanks to our collaborating, co-presenting sponsors, Stream and Cars, for making ASOTUCon possible. Amazing. Also want to thank Effective for making the podcast stage possible, because we have a lot of content coming out for that. So basically, we have released some main stage content yesterday, some really great panels. The future of auto retail, future of EVs was an amazing panel too. Today we have, who do we got? Oh, the future of EVs is the one we released just now. It's the recent one, right?
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Balancing EVs in a constantly, with Jimmy Douglas, Jennifer Newman, John Foley, and you might
as well just follow us on LinkedIn and hit the notifications button so you know when the new stuff. And if you were at ASOTUCon, we're probably pushing these out through the app as well. App adoption at the event was high.
Super high. Yeah.
It was like a lot of people. I don't know. So we got that. ASOTUCon, I don't know what to say. I'm like, I feel bad for releasing so much content on people.
I know.
But if you
Adam
just
Ross
do one
was
a day,
tell us to do one thing. We're like, I'm sorry.
I know. Tell us to do one thing. Leave a review.
There you go.
Leave a review. ASOTUCon sessions. I'm going to start listening to these on my way home today. So ASOTUCon sessions.
I started
on the podcast
listening
platform
today. I love it because I never get to listen. I never listen to the podcasts that we do because you're a part of them.
You're making them, right?
But these are podcasts that you and Michael Cirillo and Jordan Cox all did. And then I did a few. We each took like 4 or 5. I listened to one with Tony Lucas and Jordan Cox yesterday. So good. The heart of Tony Lucas. He wears it literally on his sleeve.
Or he doesn't have sleeves sometimes.
Sometimes he doesn't have sleeves.
Sometimes he doesn't have sleeves, so he wears it on his arm. I don't know. Adam Ross. Where's Adam Ross's comment? This is great. You need to tell people to do just one thing or they won't do anything. He's so right. We're marketers, right? And we're constantly telling all the sales managers and the people like, no. One call to action. Maybe like a secondary, maybe if you're lucky. And here we are like, do this and this and this and this. I don't know, Kyle, what's the one thing we would ask people to do today?
Go subscribe to the ASOTU channel
on YouTube,
on Apple Music or on Spotify. That way, that's like 90% of our content and podcasts you get if you subscribe to the entire channel.
Oh, I like that. That's a great call to action.
There you go.
Cool. Just one little announcement. Next week, we're just going to breeze by it for a second. We're releasing episode 2 of More Than Cars, the much anticipated episode 2. Yeah. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. We've talked about enough, but now it's time for
UAW update.
There we go. Ford has presented, this feels like a positive one. Ford has presented its 7th, lucky number 7th proposal to the UAW, offering higher pay raises and faster wage progression for new hires. So temporary workers' pay is set to increase by 26% to $21 an hour, and most full-time workers could see and we quote, more than 20% pay raise over 4 years. Their last offer was 20%. So they're saying, hey, we're going more than 20%. The details haven't been released specifics. Company also committed to cutting the time it takes for new hires to reach the top tier of pay by more than half. Last time it was by half. Now it's more than half. So the proposal also promises no job losses with the opening of 4 EV battery plants and ensures product commitments for every UAW represented factory.
That's strong.
It is strong, but they also said, and this isn't in the show notes, which you can, click into if you want to. They also said we're opening new battery plants, and although they promise no new job losses, they're like, we also haven't hired people for those factories yet. Those factories will get to decide whether or not they're members of the union or not. Here's a quote from Jim Farley. He says, "There's no doubt that our UAW workforce put us on their shoulders during the pandemic, and these same workers and their families were hit hard by inflation. We want to make sure our workers coming out of these negotiations with 2 things, a record contract and a strong future." So we've put an offer on the table that will be costly for the company, but one that we believe still allows Ford to invest in the future.
Them are strong words.
Let's go, Jim.
Here's what I love. We throw Jim some shade and then we throw Jim some love over the last year and a half, right? We've been on both sides of it. But what I love is over the last, let's call it year and a half, 2 years, what I've seen is that he's taken the time to be at a lot of the Ford manufacturing facilities with the people that he's now communicating with through the union.
Yep.
And so I'm like the fact that Ford seems like they're in more of the union's graces probably is like from the union, but also the workers that are behind the Ford union, the Ford side
Hearts
of the
and
UAW,
minds.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the brand build of the OEM to the people on the manufacturing floor started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You can't start building brand when you're in negotiations. That doesn't work.
No, that is the worst time. Like, when you're in the doghouse is not the time where you start buying flowers.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Or when you're lacking sales isn't the time when you try and start to figure out brand.
Yeah, no way. I think especially the larger your organization, the more important this is. We can take away you're going to need, let's back up. You have to make decisions in business that people aren't going to be happy about.
Right. Every time.
And you need, if your intentions are really good, you need to have basically the flexibility or the headspace or the relational collateral to be able to explain why the decision is the way it is. And you can't have that if you are just in an office somewhere. So like getting out, walking the floor, saying good morning to your people, like that stuff adds up over time. I call it relational capital, right? Because it's sometime you need to spend it, right? You have to save it so you can spend it.
How many times have we talked to executive leaders in companies like start a podcast, start bringing people stuff every single day, go say hi to as many people as you possibly can, like brand build your executive team to the rest of your crew. You could say it's brand build. You can say it's relational equity and
same thing.
Like it's exactly the same thing.
It's connection.
It's connection.
It is connection. All right. I was going to say, speaking of building.
Got excited.
Segue. I did. I was going to say, speaking of connection. U.S. new vehicle sales in Q3 are up. Despite looming concerns over the strike, General Motors saw a 21% jump in sales, benefiting from a demand in various categories, while Asian brands also experienced significant gains. Ford and Stellantis will be reporting their figures soon, but GM, 21% rise in sales, 28% increase in EV sales from the previous quarter. And they specifically mentioned in their report, that they have 442,586 vehicles in inventory on Tuesday, to be precise.
Which is plenty.
They want to make sure people are like, we got vehicles to sell. Stellantis is up Stellantis saw a 1.3% decrease in sales. Toyota's up 12.2%. Kia and Hyundai are both up. And Tesla missed its Q3 delivery estimates due to some planned factory upgrades, they said. They also happen to miss another Cybertruck launch date. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
Yeah, but we kind of slid that in the email the other day. It's like, not going to happen in Q3. There it was.
But here, I mean, all in all, things are still like on that upward trend.
Still popping. And I think we're going to see, if I had to guess, just based on like paying attention to some of the economists, paying attention to Jonathan Smoke, Charlie Chesbrough at Cox, and then what's going on, like Steve Greenfield, what he's talking about, how much ground stock we have, what what the feel is, just like there's still not a ton of ground stock. There's still a lot of energy around new vehicle purchasing. We're starting to see a little bit of a decline in used vehicle activity, both in search volume of traffic on third-party inventory sites. Even like anecdotally, a lot of the marketers that I know are starting to see that, but the new car traffic is still very high. So I still think we're going to see a strong Q4 as long as the inventory stays up there. And to see these, 21% rise for GM, a 28% increase in EV sales, 12% for Toyota. Those are massive numbers in growth.
Yeah, in second half of the year so far.
Yeah.
I also saw a stat, I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday, that like new vehicle interest rates are close to 10%.
Golly.
Whoa.
And they're gonna keep pushing them. Like that's
to.
not
Yeah, it's like that's only because also, I mean, we're getting into economics now, but the jobs report also, like there are a lot of jobs available. So it's like just when you think
low unemployment, high jobs available, higher interest rates.
It's like you're coming in for the quote unquote soft landing, and then the plane's like pulls right back up. No. Let's get a little more altitude to see if we can slam this thing down. I know. What a strange few years. I don't know. It's what all our grandkids will be studying in their economy class.
They definitely will. This will be like a weird time.
Speaking of a weird time,
yeah, come on.
Especially if you like the smell.
Let me talk about this.
If you love the smell of outdoor power equipment just running and the sound,
just come in close, y'all. Just come in close. So Home Depot is aiming to have over 85% of North America's outdoor lawn equipment run on rechargeable batteries by, this is crazy, the year 2028.
I know. I wanted to
haven't heard
2030 trigger, but they're like, we
no trigger button. The retailer plans to work with manufacturers to increase its selection of battery-powered products, replacing gas-powered alternatives. This move could reduce over 2 million metric tons of greenhouse gases annually, which is still pales in comparison to even just what motorcycles emit on an annual basis, which is over 7.5 billion metric tons in 2021. So it's still a sliver on what these.
No, that's 7.5 billion is cars and motorcycles.
Cars and motorcycles. Yeah. So, still a sliver in the overall like motorized greenhouse emissions. But the Home Depot is obviously leaning into where they can. Ron Jarvis, their chief sustainability officer, said, by innovating residential lawn equipment away from gas-powered combustible engines, we can help make our neighbors cleaner and quieter. By working with our suppliers to bring innovative and sustainable products to every aisle of our store, we can help our customers create more sustainable homes and workplaces. A lot of the move is not just around the carbon and greenhouse emissions, but also things like reduced noise, no fumes, making sure that customers don't have it, they're not wearing it on their clothes and the fumes that hit them. Here's the thing though, still similar to EVs, the electric motors are higher priced in the marketplace, and just moving customers into purchasing that has still been a hard go for companies like Home Depot and Lowe's that are trying to make this move. Paul, have I told you about my electric motor experience?
I was just going to ask you now. Electric mower?
Yeah.
No.
I owned one for 1 week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did you bring it back?
I brought it back because it didn't cut well. I mean, this is only a year ago.
It didn't have enough torque.
It just didn't have enough torque.
Yeah. Which one was it? Do you remember?
It was whatever brand is blue. There's like a green.
There's Ryobi is the blue one. I think the green one.
Yep.
Was that the blue one?
And I went with like the one with the top battery. I was like, I got to get the one that like really, really turns a thing, right? If I'm going to spend the extra $100 and go with the nice one.
Yep.
And it couldn't turn the torque. And I mean, luckily I have a small yard, but you couldn't go much bigger than my yard on a single battery charge. So that means you got to have two batteries.
That's
flip
the
them
tough
out,
part.
right?
We got some great comments. Adam Ross comments, the law in California is requiring them soon. Xavier Kleinerman says, didn't California ban the sale of gas-powered lawnmowers by 2024?
I mean, it makes sense. Turning this over is a lot easier. I mean, in my Home Depot and Lowe's, it's probably 75% electric motors at this point. You just go in. It's especially not just the lawnmowers, but the power equipment. It's almost impossible to find.
The interchangeable stuff. I have the only electric powered thing I have is a DeWalt weed whacker. and it runs on those big 24-volt batteries. And I have a pretty big property, and it does a pretty good job. I love the fact, like messing with the smaller engines, like the lawnmowers aren't as bad, but when you get into like weed whacker engines and blowers, like those little, oil gas mixes, they just end up doing weird things over time. So it's nice not having to worry about it. But I will say, like the weed whacker itself was like $140. The battery that came with it, like the combo was $199. But if I want a second battery, which sometimes I do, the battery itself is like another $120. So Nathan, our producer, just verified they will only allow California's only allow sales of electric lawn equipment starting in 2024. So
there you go. There's the hot news.
If you want your gas mower, you got 3 months.
3 months or move to Nashville. Come on now.
Or if you're in a neighboring state, right, get a little inventory together. Just cross
Slide
the border
on over.
And move
and I will say, like my neighbor right over here to the side has an electric motor. I have a gas motor. Just compare the lawns every single week, and he's got like little points of grass just all over the place. It just does not get all of it. So we'll see. I'm sure that'll change.
I like hearing the sound of someone else mowing their lawn.
It's amazing.
There's something about it makes me want to like just take a nap or appreciate the season. Yeah.
Or for me, just mowing and knowing that if it's loud enough with my little mower, I can't hear anything. Nobody can ask me anything.
A little zen moment. I'm thinking like from commercial applications, because you're starting to see these like riding ones, and I don't know how fast they charge or anything, but like in my mind, I just kind of really quick pictured like a commercial landscape trailer with like a big battery on it. And like pulling the big motors on, and then putting like the weed whackers on the little side things, and it like if they all start to charge up, I was like, that would be pretty dope.
That would be cool.
That would be pretty dope. I don't know. We're just out here talking about lawn. He's making me want to go mow a lawn. I want to go mow a lawn. Right? I don't know if you can mow a lawn, but go do it if you can. If not, get in the dealership, get in your store, take care of some people, take care of some customers. We'll see you tomorrow.